Good afternoon and welcome to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase, our weekly call-in town hall and radio show. And that's right, this is a call-in town hall with your state representative, so feel free to give us a call, 804-454-1366. Ask your question right here and right now. And I want to thank WNTW for the opportunity to provide this free public service to you each week. It's a unique opportunity for you, and I hope you're going to take advantage of that today. And I'm going to give you the number again in case you didn't have your pen out. It's 804-454-1366. Again, I'm State Senator Amanda Chase. I'm your weekly radio show host, and I serve you at the state level, not to be confused with the federal level, which meets in D.C. My office is actually at the state capitol in downtown Richmond. This is my first term in office, and I'm getting ready to complete year 3 of my 4-year term. I represent the 11th Senatorial District, which includes all of Amelia, all of Colonial Heights, and most of Chesterfield, which is where I live. And for those of you who have not tuned in yet, I am a Christian, conservative, Republican, and in that order. Vice President Mike Pence used that line, and I liked it so much that I continue to borrow that line from him. Thank you very much. I ran on term-limiting career politicians and returning the government back to the people. What a novel concept. My goal is to be a representative who is transparent, accessible, and approachable. And this radio show is an opportunity to do that. Not paid to do this show. I do it because I think it's important to stay connected to the people that I serve. Since being elected in 2015, I pushed for greater transparency in government, legislation that returns the power back to the people, and restoring reciprocity of gun rights, and holding Dominion accountable for coal ash cleanup to ensure we're good stewards of the James River. I also serve on 4 committees. So health and education is one, transportation, local governments, and privileges and elections. So that's kind of my specialty, if you will. I also co-founded the Transparency Caucus with Delegate Mark Levin of Alexandria, Virginia, who is a Democrat, and which, we work in a bipartisan, bicameral way. He's in the House, I'm in the Senate, to ensure committee meetings are streamed and recorded. And this is going to happen for the first time ever this coming session. And we didn't even need legislation to do it. We actually drafted a letter and had both sides of the aisle, bicameral, bipartisan support, including the majority leader, Senator Tommy Normant. And we wrote a letter to both of the clerks and asked that we do this as a service to the constituents to provide greater transparency. So for the first time in Virginia's legislative history, this session, Legislative Services will be providing this service. And as many of you all know, many of the topics that we address on our show are actual issues that constituents have brought to my attention, or issues that we have addressed in the General Assembly. Sometimes we'll cover special news, news topics that are on, which generally meets our General Assembly, which generally meets January through March. So I'm out of session. From time to time, we will also get congressional updates from Virginia's Congressman Dave Bratt, who is my congressman and also of this area. And again, if you have a question about today's topic, I invite you to call in. The number is 804-454-1366. So let's get started today. And I've been out in the district a lot this week. On Saturday, I was at Chesterfest here in Chester, Virginia, which is on the southern part of my district. Great seeing everybody that came out, and even several of you said that you actually listened to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase, and I'm very grateful to know that there's more than just a couple of you out there. Monday night was back to school night at Manchester High School, and that's actually I was attending as a parent. I still have 2 kids in our public schools, and I've got to see all my friends and neighbors. Tuesday night, Southside Realtors Picnic. Enjoyed supporting our realtors and small business owners and showing my support and getting to play. What were we playing? There was a game. What is that called where you throw the bean bags? I can't think of it right now. It'll come to me. Sorry. And then last night I was at Steamboat Beer Works at an event for Delegate Roxanne Robinson, and great seeing everyone that came out to that event. And then tonight I will be speaking in Chesterfield at an NRA event. It's cornhole. That's what I was trying to think of. Awesome. So did I hear you correctly that Congressman Bratt is tuned in? All right. I sent Congressman Bratt a text earlier today. He's so busy, but I love to see what's really going on in D.C., and he was able to break away and join us today. So I want to welcome Dr. Dave Bratt, Congressman Dave Bratt. How are you doing?
Hey, great. Thank you, Senator. And I got only about 5 minutes, so if you want to cut to the chase on tax or whatever you're interested in, just fire away.
Okay, let's start with President Trump's GOP tax plan that he announced yesterday afternoon. So his goal is to simplify the tax code and reduce taxes. Looks like we've got 3 tax brackets, 12%, 25%, 35%. And it looks like he's doubling the standard deductions, like the individual, which is currently $6,300, $6,350, is now going to be $13K. Is that what you understand?
Yep.
Married couples, $12,700. It's now about $25K.
$24,000. That's right. So that's a big boost.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, our big businesses, there's some big news there. Really, whether you're a small business or a big business, we're cutting the corporate income tax. President Trump wanted 15%, but we're getting 20%, right?
Right. The corporate's 20, and then the most important for our, you just know you're around town doing the small business, and the S corp rate is the small business pass-through rate is going to be 25, down from a high of 39. And so that was the big piece we wanted to make sure was there. And then you put the whole package together, and so some of the deductions are going to go away. The state and local tax deductions, some of the interest deductions. So some of those will go bye-bye. But overall, the rate reduction, and then the major piece is the immediate expensing of capital equipment, et cetera. And then lowering the corporate rate, we're competitive with the rest of the world. And so what people have just forgotten about is what it looks like to see your paycheck grow. And so, right? I mean, it's like true. Under the Obama regime, no one even thinks about it. Mm. And so your wages should be going up, and they haven't been. They've been flat for 30 years. And so the major piece of good news is this thing should be pro-growth. And if you compare that with the current tax system we have, right, I heard a joke the other day, the current tax system is twice as, the IRS tax tables are twice as thick as the Bible, and there's no good news in it. I knew you'd like that one.
That's a good one.
if we bring back pro-growth, get the kids skilled up to be positive about business, and bring back that positive business psychology, this country, there's no reason we can't grow at 3 or 4% like we did after JFK and Reagan.
Now, let me ask you if you still support this, because I noticed that they changed that. Originally, this was not going to add $20 trillion to our national debt, but apparently that is the case. Is that what you're hearing?
This will cost about $1.5 trillion over 10 years.
Okay.
And so the growth is going to have to make up for that, right? So we better get it right. And so the key danger, and this is just the plan on paper, right? We hope it looks like this. Mm-hmm. But if the swamp wins, right, if the K Street lobbyists come in and the special interests come in and they say, hey, we want all of our deductions back, then you won't get the growth and the deficit will go through the roof. So we have to make sure this thing stays pro-growth. That's the most important part.
So you like what you're seeing so far. There, you could probably, based on what it looks like, you think you could vote for this.
Yeah, the trick is, the key detail, you cannot analyze where you're going to be yet, because they said the rates are going down, right, to 35 and 25 and 10 or 12, but you don't know what bracket you're in yet. So they still haven't released that key piece of information.
Yeah,
so,
like where's the middle class going to fall? Probably 25% if I had to guess.
Yep.
Just looking at this.
And that's Trump ran that his tax plan was going to be pro-middle class. So I'd be shocked. Right, he won Ohio and Michigan and Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, et cetera, was a shocker.
The thing that we hear a lot in the media is they keep saying this is going to benefit the rich. We're giving tax cuts to the rich. I mean,
Right,
how do we
right.
debunk that? I mean, how do we explain that to folks that that's not what this is?
Yeah, well, I mean, the top 1% pays something, way over 20% all the taxes. So, I mean, if you give a tax cut, I mean, of anything, and it's not clear that the rich are getting a tax cut. They haven't released that top bracket yet. And Trump has hinted that the rich may not get a tax cut. And so that's what makes Trump so interesting, right? So the Democrats are piling on like it's this normal trickle-down thing, and they're just negative about business in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't even worry about that debate. I mean, if the voters want to choose, for their kids, the party that's not for business and for creating jobs, I don't really get that vote.
All right, Congressman Bratt, can you join us after the break, or do you have to go?
Oh yeah, I got to go today, but I'll get next time. I'll come on for a half hour and we'll go over every issue in the world.
All right, next Thursday we'll have Congressman Bratt on. I've got that. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks, Senator. You bet.
Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155 for your free quote. Summer heat is rolling in, and Daniels Heating and Refrigeration is offering a free Wi-Fi thermostat with any system replacement. Extend the life of your HVAC system. Save energy with a low-cost maintenance agreement. Call Daniels Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155. That's 804-379-1155.
The Chesterfield County Colonial Heights Crime Solvers program needs your help to identify a hit-and-run suspect. Just before 2 in the afternoon of Saturday, September 9th, a man walked from the Walmart in Colonial Heights to a beige or tan crew cab Chevrolet pickup truck in the parking lot. As the truck pulled from its parking space, the right rear of the truck snagged the vehicle parked next to it, caused substantial damage. Accidents like this happen, but in this case, the driver left the lot without reporting the crash or leaving his information. That suspect was an older white male wearing a blue and black plaid flannel shirt and denim blue jeans. You can see pictures of him and his truck at crimesolvers.net or on Facebook at crimesolverscch. And if you have information about this or any unsolved crime in or fugitive wanted by Chesterfield or Colonial Heights, submit a tip through the telephone hotline at 748-0660 or through the new P3 app. Either way, you will remain anonymous, and if your tip helps, you could receive a cash reward. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and take the time to solve the crime.
Attention! Sorry I'm talking a little loud because I want to reach people with a hearing problem. Do you want to hear better for just $299? Yes, not thousands, but for $299, you can hear all the sounds you've been missing for years. Hearing Help Express has been helping people hear better, selling top-quality hearing aids for over 30 years. Now's your best chance to hear better with hearing aids for only $299, plus a free 45-day home trial offer, and you don't even need to leave your home or get a hearing test. Call now to start your risk-free 45-day home trial offer. Call 888-451-2042. 888-451-2042 for free hearing help consultation. Learn how Hearing Help Express can improve the quality of your life. Visit us online now at hearinghelp.com or call 888-451-2042. 888-451-2042.
Before a trip, you program your destination into the GPS. You need the best directions to get where you want to be.
You will arrive at your retirement in 8
It's the same for retirement. You need a voice to guide you. In Richmond, that voice is Isaac Wright. Join him every Saturday at 3 and Sunday at noon on WNTW 820 The Answer. Isaac's experience can help your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street. Take the first step by tuning in Saturdays at 3 and Sundays at noon for Retire Right with Isaac Wright.
Arriving at your retirement.
Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is our weekly call-in town hall and radio show. And that's right, this is a call-in town hall with your state representative, so feel free to call in. It's 804-454-1366. Ask your question right here, right now. And so we just had a nice little visit from Congressman Bratt, who is in D.C. right now doing the hard work, and so excited to hear about Steve Scalise, who is back for the first time today. So thank God that things turned out better than they could have, and he's actually back at NDC today. So welcome back. So we were talking before the break with Congressman Bratt about the GOP tax plan, and I don't know if you watched the press conference yesterday with President Trump. I did, and the announcement was yesterday afternoon. And so his main goal is to simplify the tax code and reduce taxes. Why? Because we want to try to stimulate the economy. We are in a global competition for businesses, and we need to understand that. We are competing globally with other countries. So we've got to reform our tax code so that we can be competitive. And why? Because where are all of our businesses going, or many of our businesses? They're relocating their headquarters outside of the USA because we've had one of the highest corporate income taxes in the industrial nations of all of them. So I appreciate and support President Trump's initiative here to stimulate our economy. And what happens if we reduce taxes and stimulate the economy? It means hopefully raises for people. It means jobs for people. You know, I think for me, it seems like a no-brainer, right? If we lower lower the corporate income tax, businesses will hopefully come back to the United States, and there'll be more jobs here for those who want to work. I think it's a win-win. So the top Trump administration officials and congressional Republican leaders, they've agreed on the following. The first thing I want to note, because initially this was not going to add national debt, but now it is, which I'm not real happy about that, but it is what it is. But they say it will add $20 trillion to our national debt. So I don't like that part. But small and large businesses will get major tax cuts. Most people will pay lower taxes. So I thought I would just break it down for you. So let's talk about the rich. And when we say rich, they're defining the rich as anyone with any income above $480,000. So I'm definitely not rich. The current tax rate is about 39.6%. Under President Trump's agenda, it would be lowered to 35%. He's talked about eliminating the estate tax. So that's that group. Let's talk about the middle class. So the standard deduction is going to be double. So for an individual that's filing, currently you get $6,350. Now it's going to be about $13,000. Married couples who right now get $12,700 deduction would get about $25,000. And my understanding from his press conference yesterday is he said the first $12,000 of income will be tax-free, no tax on it for an individual. And for a couple, it's $24,000. He also talked about eliminating the AMT, which is also called the Alternative Minimum Tax. And that was created in the 1970s. It was to prevent wealthier families from taking so many tax breaks and end up paying little to no taxes. So he's completely doing away with that. Let's talk about businesses again, just to summarize. Big businesses, the top rate currently is 35%. It is one of the highest among developed nations. I know President Trump was pushing initially for 15%, but they're saying let's start off with 20% for the corporate income tax, which is about 2 percentage points less than the average. Let's go to small businesses, our pass-through businesses. Some pass-through businesses pay as high as 39.6%. That's now going to be reduced to 25%. So in my opinion, this is all good. The only thing I don't like is that we're adding to our national debt. Don't like that. My understanding is, according to President Trump, he said that they would be voting sometime between January and March. I noticed some of the papers are saying January, but I clearly heard him say that, in other words, it'll probably be March, but hopefully sooner. So that's where we are on the GOP tax plan. Now, speaking of businesses and business and attracting business, I just want to throw out there that I put in a bill this past session to lower our corporate income tax from 6% to 2.5% so that we could be competitive with North Carolina, who is right at 2.5% as well. And actually, they're looking to continue to go down. So, you know, some people are saying, why is it all the business is going to North Carolina? Well, that's part of it right there. So we got to do something about that corporate income tax. So One of the topics that was of interest to you all, and many people emailed me this week, has to do with the Matoaka mega site rezoning that's going on in Chesterfield. They're talking about it. It's not going on, but it's coming. And many of you have opposed that, and you've written to me an email, and you've said, I don't like this. So I thought we would talk about that briefly today, and I'm hoping that we're also going to get to talk about how Virginia is going to have to pay $4.8 million because it is withheld that money from Northrop Grumman, who provides our IT services or our messaging or email services since April. We're going to talk about the judge's ruling on that. And then hopefully we'll end up with talking about Virginia and how we're going to bid on the Amazon headquarters. So let's go back to the Matoaka mega site. Okay, if you look at Chesterfield County, most of our tax base is coming from residential sources. We need more business in Chesterfield so that we can better distribute our tax base there. And they're saying that the Matoaka mega site could bring up to 10,000 manufacturing jobs. And the mega site, where is it? It's about 1,600 acres of land south of Route 10 in Chester, and it's located in Chesterfield, Virginia. Now, the land was once planned to be part of a huge residential project, but that since has fallen through. And so the Board of Supervisors, they're having meetings across Chesterfield to get the input of constituents to see what they thought on this. And I think the last one was Wednesday, September the 20th, 7 p.m. at Carver Middle School. So a lot of you are not happy about that, and so I'm listening. This is a Board of Supervisors issue. It's a local issue. It's really not something at the state level. It's going to be outside of my jurisdiction, but because it's important to you all, I actually called Dr. Casey earlier today, and he is willing to come on the show. He's going to check his calendar. He was driving, so either next Thursday or the following Thursday is going to come on the show, so you want to stay tuned. And the question is, should this land be rezoned to attract some type of manufacturing to the county? The Chesterfield officials want to hear from you about the Matoaka mega site and whether it should be rezoned. The county and the governor hope to attract 5,000 to 10,000 direct and supplier type jobs. So anyway, I've got several emails from constituents here in opposition. Many people, basically, most of their objections, I have an email here from someone who lives in the Glebe Point subdivision and has lived there for 28 years, and they say that they don't support the creation of the Matoaka mega site because the construction and the subsequent operation of this site would disrupt daily life in multiple neighborhoods, disrupt local traffic and the environment, and just the unmentioned and unknown side effects of locating the site at the proposed location are even more concerning. We believe this project should be moved to an area with less impact to its adjacent residents, neighborhoods, and transportation systems, right? Nobody wants it in their backyard, right? I get it. And I have to tell you, I fought a zoning case where they were trying to cut through a thoroughfare through my neighborhood as well. So I understand that. We're always looking out for our children and our families, and that's tough. When we come back from the break, we're going to finish talking about this Matoaka mega site rezoning, so stay tuned. We'll be right back with Cut to the Chase.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. The White House says progress is being made in helping hurricane-battered Puerto Rico to get back on its feet. Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner has signed legislation allowing state health insurance and Medicaid coverage for abortions. An emotional homecoming on Capitol Hill today. Congressman Steve Scalise is back at the Capitol for the first time since he was shot and wounded back in June. The U.S. economy grew at an upgraded annual rate of 3.1% in the spring. It's the fastest pace in more than 2 years. It was a mildly higher close for the key averages on Wall Street today, with the Dow up about 40 points, ending the day at 22,381. The S&P 500 index gained 3 points, and the NASDAQ was up a fraction. More details at srnnews.com.
Mike Gallagher here for Relief Factor. You might be asking, who should consider ordering Relief Factor? Well, anyone with pain that's keeping them from doing things that bring joy to their life. Maybe taking a long walk, not having the pain, riding a bike, playing golf again without pain, opening a jar or sewing or using a hammer, even rolling out of bed every morning without pain. For me, I had hip replacement, and then I had a little bit of a scooter accident in New York, left me miserable, aches and pains, until I started taking Relief Factor. Heard about them on the radio. I started to take Relief Factor, a packet in the morning, a packet in the evening. You know what? I was completely pain-free. I want to prove it to you by you taking the 3-week quick start from Relief Factor. It's only $19.95. Do you know 80% of those who take the quick start order again? We know it works. So if your pain isn't worth the price of a cup of coffee a day to lower, then you're not in much pain. If it is worth it, try the 3-week quick start. ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-500-8384. Relief Factor.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just got invited to the prom. Do you A, meet her date?
I need to see your past date report cards, your driver's license, a list of references, and this hair sample.
B, help her pick out a dress.
Don't you just love the long sleeves and turtleneck on this pantsuit?
Ugh.
C, attend the prom undercover.
Mom, what are you doing here?
I'm not Mom, I'm Calvin, the new kid at school.
Or D, capture her big moment.
Let's take a photo of you two. I'm in the middle.
When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers. But that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Beat the heat before the heat beats you. Call Daniels Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155 for your free quote. Summer heat is rolling in, and Daniels Heating and Refrigeration is offering a free Wi-Fi thermostat with any system replacement. Extend the life of your HVAC system. Save energy with a low-cost maintenance agreement. Call Daniels Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155. That's 804-379-1155.
We know it was them who sent sound bites of Michael Savage to England to get him banned in England. You Nazi rats, you. You left-wing Nazi rats. Half of you are children of Holocaust survivors. You rats, you've been on drugs so long, you don't even know you become the worst scum on the planet.
Tune in to the Savage Nation, weekdays, here on Richmond's Choice for Conservative Talk Radio, WNTW 820, The Answer.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase. This is our weekly call-in town hall and radio show, and I am your state representative, your state senator. Feel free to call in at 804-454-1366. Ask your question, and I will do my best to answer it here on the air. And right before the break, we were talking about the Matoaca mega site that they're proposing in Chesterfield. Could bring up to 10,000 manufacturing jobs. I have received several emails from constituents in my district saying that this is something that they do not support. And, we as a community do need to decide, do the risk outweigh the rewards? For me personally, I think we really need to seriously consider bringing business to the area. And Matoaca is it's less dense than other parts of Chesterfield, and I'm leaning towards supporting this. And I'm going to be meeting with some constituents that called right before the show and said, "Will you sit down and chat with us?" So I will hold off my opinion officially until I've had a chance to meet with them. But one resident writes, "I live in the Chester area of Chesterfield County, and I'm a constituent of yours. I've sent this email, which they sent me, to the Board of Supervisors and Planning Commission members, and I've copied both of you. I want you to be aware that many constituents are against this proposed Matoaca mega site. Where they're residents of Chesterfield County since 1989. My husband and I are both Chesterfield County public school graduates. After graduating from college, they decided to raise their family in Chester. They live in the off of Bradley Bridge Road. They're expressing strong opposition. They attended last week's informational meeting at Carver Middle School to better understand the proposed plan, but they said that it was an ineffective meeting setup. So we'll definitely talk to Dr. Casey about that. Maybe there's a better way to set that up, which was they were unable to easily gather more information. I plan to attend future meetings, but hope the setup will allow questions to be answered. The increase in traffic and noise pollution, not to mention an industrial park in the middle of a heavily residential area, my backyard, are just a few reasons I'm completely against the plan. Additional concerns include new road construction, environmental concerns from inputs and outs from such an industrial site, the need for increased services, and the county's ability to deliver them in a timely manner, fire, police, EMT, libraries, schools, etc. They also add devaluation of their current properties. And then they also mention in here that why would the county decide to build another mega site when their other sites are vacant? So there are a bunch of questions that are listed here, and I think they're all very good questions. And we are going to talk to Dr. Casey about that. Like I said, I talked to him earlier this morning. I've left a message for Board of Supervisors Dorothy Jekyll to see if she would like to respond. Gibb Sloan did respond. He's the Bermuda District Commissioner. And his quote is this: "This is still the beginning of a process that will take several months. During the time, the various county departments will continue working with the EDA, that's the Chesterfield Economic Development Authority, to be able to address many of the impacts. You all are justified in your concern over the disruption a project of this magnitude can bring to a community. This concern, along with many others, will be included in our review in the case with the EDA." So we'll get back to you on that, but I did want you all to know that I am looking into that. In Virginia, I don't know if you saw this, switching to our next subject here, Virginia is going to bid on the Amazon headquarters. Amazon has announced that they are searching for a second headquarters location. And one of the things that they mentioned is that they desired mass transit systems, which unfortunately we do not have. We have heard that they've said Northern Virginia is a most attractive location, but they said that Richmond and Virginia Beach should still compete because they both have the fastest growing millennial populations, interestingly enough. So Amazon has actually asked them to compete. So, we have a lot going on to lower taxes at the federal level, at the state level, and and I'm excited to see the prospects of more business coming to Chesterfield and beyond. So, in my opinion, this is all very good news, and hopefully it just gets better. Well, with all the good news that we have, unfortunately, there is sometimes bad news, such as I was mentioning earlier today about Virginia having to pay $4.8 million to Northrop Grumman, and more. We'll talk about that more when we come back from the break. But yesterday, Richmond Circuit Judge made a ruling yesterday, which is going to require Virginia to pay $4.8 million. So not real happy about that. We'll talk more about that when we come back from the break. Just stay tuned. We'll be right back with Cut to the Chase.
Hi, this is Pat Rogers. Say, where did the fun go in talk radio? When you've had enough of politics, rumors, and name-calling, why not relax and enjoy the waning hours of the weekend and join me for an hour of comedy, commentary, and utter nonsense on the Love Doctor Radio Hour. We'll be here waiting for you at 7 p.m. on Sundays on this station, AM 820 and almost 98, 97.7 FM, WNTW.
The Old Dominion football team is set to make history again this week. The Monarchs head to Blacksburg to face Virginia Tech for the first time ever. The challenge is a major one, as the unbeaten Hokies are ranked 13th in the nation. Hi, this is Ted Alexander. Join Andy Mishaw, Doug Ripley, and me for all the action live from Lane Stadium. Pre-game coverage begins Saturday afternoon at 1 right here on the ODU Sports Radio Network.
WNTW 820 AM and 97.7 FM, The Answer. Proud home of Old Dominion University football.
If your financial plan is even slightly out of tune, you may be paying too much for taxes, exposing yourself to too much risk, or retiring without a sound income plan. Listen to WNTW AM 820 The Answer on Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 8:30 a.m. to Financially Tuned with Big John Pulowski of Norseman Advisory Group. You can contact Big John at 757-223-1559 or visit the website at norsemanagi.com.
5 days a week at the crack of dawn, John Fredericks gives you exclusive world-class nonstop coverage of our political madhouse. But what does he do on a Saturday? J-Fred. Saturday, noon till 3, it's the all-new Best of John Fredericks show. Best guests, best interviews, Best of John Fredericks. Saturdays at noon on WNTW AM 820 The Answer.
That ad you just heard, it could have been yours. That's right, you could have just heard your ad instead of some other guys. On AM 820 and 97.7 FM, you can reach more potential customers, many just like you, who can add dollars to your bottom line. Our team will work with you to make the perfect ad for your business. So give us a call at 804-717-2000. That's 804-717-2000. Your first step to becoming a household name.
Before the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People was the Dale Carnegie course. Now, after 104 years, over 8 million people experience Dale Carnegie courses. People like Warren Buffett and Ronald Reagan. The Dale Carnegie experience uses proven techniques to permanently unlock the potential of top talent, making individuals into inspiring leaders and groups into high-performing teams, while reducing the financial and emotional costs of employee turnover. For more information, visit DaleCarnegieRichmond.com.
Welcome back to Cut to the Chase with Senator Chase, our weekly call-in town hall and radio show. And just a reminder that this is a call-in town hall, so you're welcome to call in and ask your questions. The number here is 804-454-1366. And before the break, I was talking about Virginia having to pay $4.8 million that it has withheld from Northrop Grumman. And Northrop Grumman is the private IT company that handles messaging services, like email, for the state. And basically what's happening here is that yesterday there was a ruling made by a Richmond Circuit judge yesterday. And basically what they're saying is that Northrop Grumman is going to have to continue providing these services. So I still get my email as a state employee, which is a good thing. But apparently the judges also ruled that the state is going to have to pay $4.8 million for their services. It affects nearly 60,000 state employees, the email services. Northrop Grumman must continue to provide email services for the state and provide transition services to our new vendor, which is Tempus Nova. And what had basically happened is that the state had a 13-year contract and has paid over $2.4 billion for services. VITA was contending that it pays $900,000 a month for Northrop Grumman to provide a Microsoft-based email service that the state doesn't want anymore because they want something cheaper. So I'm all for cheaper, right, as long as it's a good service. They're going to a Google-based provider that has been under contract for 14 months and has paid for services that it has been unable to provide. So never a dull moment, right? One of the things I want to go back and talk about is this whole proposal to take down statues. As I mentioned on the show, we had talked about the law. The state law says that the statues cannot be removed. We had Richmond City Council members. They're waiting on the mayor's panel, but there was a Richmond City councilman who had a resolution that they introduced on Monday, And in it, he asked for state lawmakers for permission to remove 5 Confederate statues from Monument Avenue. But that is not going to succeed. Now, I at least appreciate that they are acknowledging that is Virginia is what's called a Dillon Rule state. So basically, the localities cannot do anything without permission that the state gives them. So in this situation, just like in Charlottesville, where they were trying to vote to take down these statues, they really don't have the authority to do that. They can take a symbolic vote, but they cannot take down the statues. And even voting on it, I think they're confusing people, because as you hear what the people are saying in these meetings, they're saying, vote and take these down. Well, they don't have the ability to do that. Okay. So first, Jones said he decided not to wait for a decision from Stoney's commission for 2 reasons. First, he said it's his prerogative as a city council member to introduce legislation. Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. No, you cannot do that. Your city council and city council members are not able to introduce legislation. Second, he wanted to clear up ambiguity and whether the statues are protected under state law protecting war memorials. He did say, and this is according to the Richmond Times-Dispatch, by the way, the commission could come back and say, let's take them down, but they don't have the proper power to do that. It lies with the House of Delegates, he said. Well, it's actually not just the House of Delegates. It is the House of Delegates and the state Senate, and then the governor has to sign it into law. So just a little education there. And I know they're doing their best, but it's very clear when I hear some of these city council members speaking that they do not understand the law, and they don't understand the authority that is given to them or not given to them. So I want to be very clear in case they're listening today, that they do not have the authority to do that. Now, what they will continue to mention is, it says the city, meanwhile, argues that the law is not worded in a way that would make it retroactive to statutes erected prior to 1997, and that it's unclear that the Statue of Lee is indeed a war memorial. Can I just completely cut to the chase here? A 4th grader could read this law and understand it. I don't understand why people are not getting this state law that is as clear as day. And I've read it over the air before, so I'm not going to read it today, but I just want to, there are many people, everyone that is contacting me has said, we are not racist, but we don't want you taking down our statues. We would rather focus on other issues and spend our money on our schools, education, our roads, and other infrastructure, and they don't want to spend time talking about monuments anymore. So that's what I'm hearing from the folks in my area. So I just want to reassure you all that no matter what the city council does, they do not have the authority to do that. That lies with the legislature. Another thing that I would like to follow up with you on is I've been talking to you about the premiums set to increase nearly 60% in the Virginia markets. We were talking about health insurers like Optima had left for a while, and there were some other ones that we mentioned on the show had left. And now what has happened is many people see their options for health plans dwindle down to one insurer. Premiums are simultaneously set to rise by an average of 57.7% next year. And I just want to specify in Virginia's individual marketplace. In other words, if you went to the marketplace and went under the AFA and got your insurance, this is going to affect your rates. Next year, they're saying that the average monthly premiums for plans ranges from $502 to a little over $1,000. So that is a tremendous increase in our premiums, and I think it's important to understand. Wednesday is yesterday, in other words, Wednesday is the final date on which the insurers had to submit their rates and agree to participate in the market next year. The rate increases can be attributed to a couple of different things. Number one, they didn't know if they were going to get the federal subsidies or not, which creates an unstable market. I mean, the insurance companies don't want to get stuck having to pay this subsidy that the federal government had been paying. And then the other problem that they have is there are too few healthy people signing up to kind of balance out the number of sick people who enroll. And then there's the uncertainty of cost-sharing reduction payments, which are meant to go to insurers to cover the cost of offering lower prices to poor members, but which the federal government has refused to guarantee. So even if the federal government comes forward in the next couple of months, I think it's important to understand this, and they promise to pay insurers the cost-sharing reduction, the prices for 2018 are going to be locked, and they're not going to be able to unchange it because they had to submit them yesterday for approval before the Bureau of Insurance, and then those go into effect next year. So I don't know how we get around that. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the enrollment period being cut in half. So more good news right after the break.
Why do I have a problem with millennials? And I'm sick and tired of hearing the word, and I'm sick and tired of catering to them, and I'm sick and tired of hearing what they think, because they don't think. All they do is spew the data that they get off an iPhone or what's been put into their silly little heads in the public schools.
Tune in to the Savage Nation, weekdays, here on Richmond's Choice for Conservative Talk Radio, WNTW 820, The Answer.
Beat the heat before the heat beats you. Call Daniels Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155 for your free quote. Summer heat is rolling in, and Daniels Heating and Refrigeration is offering a free Wi-Fi thermostat with any system replacement. Extend the life of your HVAC system. Save energy with a low-cost maintenance agreement. Call Daniels Heating and Refrigeration now at 804-379-1155. That's 804-379-1155.
The Old Dominion football team is set to make history again this week. The Monarchs head to Blacksburg to face Virginia Tech for the first time ever. The challenge is a major one, as the unbeaten Hokies are ranked 13th in the nation. Hi, this is Ted Alexander. Join Andy Mishaw, Doug Ripley, and me for all the action live from Lane Stadium. Pre-game coverage begins Saturday afternoon at 1 right here on the ODU Sports Radio Network.
WNTW 820 AM and 97.7 FM, The Answer. Proud home of Old Dominion University football.
Get your daily inspiration on our sister station, the Truth Network of Richmond, on AM 590 and 107.7 FM. The Truth Network is now on 107.7 FM, just up the dial. For 24 hours of encouragement, enjoy 107.7 FM. Realign your focus on the most important things. Just turn your dial to our sister station, the Truth Network of Richmond, on 590 AM and 107.7 FM.
Before a trip, you program your destination into the GPS. You need the best directions to get where you want to be.
You will arrive at your retirement in 8
It's the same for retirement. You need a voice to guide you. In Richmond, that voice is Isaac Wright. Join him every Saturday at 3 and Sunday at noon on WNTW 820 The Answer. Isaac's experience can help your retirement journey feel like a drive down easy street. Take the first step by tuning in Saturdays at 3 and Sundays at noon for Retire Right with Isaac Wright.
Arriving at your retirement.
That ad you just heard, it could have been yours. That's right, you could have just heard your ad instead of some other guys. On AM 820 and 97.7 FM, you can reach more potential customers, many just like you, who can add dollars to your bottom line. Our team will work with you to make the perfect ad for your business. So give us a call at 804-717-2000. That's 804-717-2000. Your first step to becoming a household name.
Well, welcome back to the final segment of Cut to the Chase with State Senator Amanda Chase. I'm here at your service and talking a lot today about business, talking about healthcare, covering a number of different things, monuments. I want to finish talking about premium set to increase nearly 60% in the Virginia markets. You know, I had been talking to you all for a while about December 31st, all the people that would be getting that notice in the mail stating that they would no longer be able to have any type of health insurance. So at least we're better. Now, at least people have an option. It looks like they're going to possibly have 2 companies to choose from depending on where they live. But now, of course, the challenge is, can we even afford these premiums? I mean, that's quite an increase. For those of you who are thinking, I just can't even afford this, I just encourage you, talk to your medical provider. Sometimes you could, just because you don't have health insurance doesn't mean you can't negotiate with a doctor and get health care. So that's what some of my family members have had to do whenever they were unemployed. And I'm sure many doctors are still willing to do that, because I know many of you are thinking the same thing I am. How are we going to afford this? We'll hopefully get it right. We have to. We can't afford not to, right? I want to remind you all to register to vote if you're not already registered to vote. Remember, we have a general election coming up on November the 7th. And the polling locations are open, same as always, 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. Make sure that if you're not going to be in town on Election Day, that you go ahead and get your absentee ballot. And we can start talking about reasons for filling out that absentee ballot. But I just want to keep it simple right now and say, if you have not registered to vote, I called out my son last week, who's 18-year-old, and he went and registered to vote this week because he didn't want me to talk about him on the air today. So I'm thankful that we have one more registered voter, my son. And the deadline to update your address or register to vote is October the 16th. And, of course, it's 22 days prior to the election. So, and to be eligible to vote in Virginia, you must be a resident of Virginia, a person who has come to Virginia for temporary purposes and intends to return to another state is not considered a resident for voting purposes. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be 18 years old. You can be any person who is 17 years old and will be 18 years of age at the next general election. All right, so, and you can't be registered and plan to vote in another state. Like, I'm thinking of college students who live out of state, but maybe they attend a Virginia university. So yeah, you can't do that. You have to vote in your state or register to vote here and be here and not vote in your state. That's kind of how that works. And you cannot be declared mentally incompetent by a court of law. And you have to have your right to vote restored if you were ever convicted of a felony. You can, just as a reminder, you can vote, you can register online. And you can also download the registration form, and you can even bring it into the registrar's office. My son actually went into the registrar's office, which, if you live in Chesterfield, is over off of Laurie Road at the office of the general registrar. So stay tuned next Thursday. It sounds like Congressman Bratt's going to come on, possibly Dr. Casey, if he can fit it into his schedule. But you'll definitely want to stay tuned for the latest issues on Cut to the Chase with State Senator Amanda Chase. Thanks for tuning in.
Hi, this is Mark Livingstone with Cornerstone First Financial. Cornerstone First Financial. Cornerstone First Financial. Cornerstone First Financial. Cornerstone